Welcome back to episode 61 of the Disorganized Club podcast. My name is Alex. I'm here as always with Adam.
Hello.
And Cam.
Hey.
And we're a group of Ottawa-based players that play just about anything and everything that we can qualify for. We talk about decks, tournaments, stories, just about anything to help you and ourselves get better at Magic.
Definitely.
Easily.
Just the easiest thing in the world.
We are confirmed the smartest podcast alive.
DWC3 Smart.
Actually, we're the smartest podcast in all of history because before we were alive, there weren't podcasts. So
Before what? If we play in a team event, I'm going to name our team 2SMRT4U, but spell like, two. Like,
Yeah.
and then
2SMRT4U.
Yeah, letter
Just-
U.
yeah.
All one word, team 2 Smart for you.
Yeah.
So, for anyone who didn't listen to our pre-Pro Tour episode last week, we made a few predictions about what would happen at the Pro Tour this past weekend. And lo and behold, we were right about everything except one thing.
We were pretty close. So,
I think we were pretty much on it.
So what's the actual versus
okay,
the...
so off the top of my head, what we predicted would be in the top 8 was 3 teamer decks, 2 of which were black playing the Scarab God, 1 of which was straight rug, not playing the Scarab God. We predicted there would be a God Pharaoh's Gift, a Mardu, a blue-black control.
I have the list if I... You're on the right.
Yeah, what am I missing?
No, you're good. And then a Saltai.
And mono red.
I mean, 1 mono red we predicted,
And
and
a
then
mono
we
red.
also said that in total, well, Stelly said there would be 6, Adam said 5 or 7, so we're going to go with Stelly's. In total, there would be 6 Scarab Gods in the top 8, and we also predicted that the God Pharaoh Gifts player, their limited record would be 6-0.
So their limited record, which is Pascal Maynard, was 5-1.
Right. So what actually happened was there were 3 teamer decks in the split we predicted. There was a Mardu, there was a mono red, there was a God Pharaoh's Gift, whose limited record was 5-1, not 6-0, and there was exactly 6 Scarab Gods. We were wrong about the blue-black deck, and that was it.
The blue-black control deck, but we also did say that if someone figures out a good Jeskai control list, they'll crumple.
Right. And
Which was the blue-black, we replaced our blue-black prediction when on the actual.
So, yeah.
So
there
we were
was, like, a
close. We were
control deck
close
that
to
got
a
in.
literal 100% prediction on this one.
It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, we're pretty like...
But like of our 7, 8-ish predictions, if you count like the extra details, we were like 7.5 right, 6.5 right. It
Also,
was-
you would have almost very easily won your bingo game.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, technical difficulties. There was a Scarab God on Scarab God.
So I didn't play along. I haven't had a chance to watch the Pro Tour yet.
Marty
but
didn't win.
Mardu didn't win. Easy
Well, yeah,
free
obviously.
square. Although it came close, man. Shout outs to that guy. I think his name was like
Sam
Eisenfeld or Eisenfeld.
Einhart or some. I don't know. I can't remember.
But like he's from Minneapolis. Yeah, it was his first Pro Tour. 100%
Yeah.
conversion rate into top 8s. Literal
Nice.
god. But he's looking pretty stressed under the lights. But
Yeah, well,
I was a little nervous though because he kept getting so comically lucky, and also his opponents were just giving him wins because they were also playing badly. That I was like, oh my god, is Marduk like we're cursed? I messaged the D and I was like, we're cursed, guys. Like
Marty's gonna
we
win.
said on the bingo card, like the free space was Mardu who won't win, and even though we did predict one in the top 8, like we're giving the deck credit. It's just a long running joke, right? But whew, I was sweating. I was like, oh no! And the semis came down to a game 5.
Yeah.
Like it was super close, and I was like, oh my god! Like we were jinxed. Like Mardu's gonna win this Pro Tour. It didn't. It was won by Saltai Energy, Seth Manfield.
Man, that guy is so good. Jesus.
Yeah, So I talked to Lil Bang about this. Who called shot, by the way, is going to win a Pro Tour qualify for the Pro Tour this weekend.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's gonna win.
Is the RPG good this weekend?
He's playing in something that's qualified for it. But
Okay.
hey, called shot. He's going to win it because
All right.
kid's nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was talking to him about this. Like, Seth had kind of a bad mistake in the finals match, but like recovered from it really well, and he like knew it was a mistake. He caught it, and he didn't like freak out and get all shaky and tilt off, right? Which kind of was the case in everyone else in the top 8.
You're saying Seth did?
Yeah, he made like I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was in the
Well,
fourth.
I was gonna say Pascal forgot to play his land.
Correct.
in
That
the
also
finals.
that also happened.
Still won that game. Didn't
Yes.
matter.
But I can't remember what it was. It was like a small, tiny mistake. It wasn't like a huge punt, It was like a suboptimal line, and it just like didn't bother him. But like otherwise, like okay. So the reason I like Seth Manfield is like he just plays solid Magic the whole way through. Like he doesn't give anything away, right? Like he's just like the same face. He's stoic and just plays like technically good Magic all the time. I don't think he's like a god tier player. I don't think he like has the reads on people and like makes these like out there plays that are really kind of like bizarre lines that only win you in these like crazy situations. Like I don't think he finds those like really insane lines, But I think he just always plays very, very well. He's just like a consistent, good player who doesn't give anything away, and I think that's why he like does so well. I got a lot of respect for him because like he's a grinder. Like he just plays everything all the time. Like that dude plays a ton of Magic. Like he goes to every Grand Prix. Like he plays all the time. Like I don't think he's like gifted though. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I like him. I like think he's just like a
I
good
don't know.
grinder.
I might have to disagree with you there because like think about the past few years. Like he just won a Pro Tour. He's won how many Grand Prix in the past couple of years, and he's world champion.
No, I know, but like
I think
he
this
played
guy's
for like 20
insane.
years. You know what I mean? Like he's just grinder. Like he just got good. Like from playing forever. Like he's not like an innovative deck player. You know what I mean though? Like he's just a good, solid player who doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I don't know. I think he's pretty great.
Well, I mean, that is great. That's
Yeah.
the best Magic player. Someone who just takes the optimal lines, makes the most logical decision, doesn't give away information, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't really try and bluff anything. He just plays according to the information he's given and received and tries not to give any away himself. But you don't see Seth like actively trying to like bluff his opponent or give them misinformation. Like that's just not the player he is. He doesn't really make plays that give misinformation. That's what I mean by he's not like a flashy player.
Okay.
Do you know?
Sure. I think I know.
Like if you watch certain players like that Sammy T video from way back we talked where he like dupes Paulo like super hard, right? Those kind of like bluffs and plays, like you don't really see out of Seth as often. Like I don't think he's that kind of like cerebral player. Like he's just a very like good, solid player. Like
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So,
and I was glad he won that top 8 because he was the only one who played like very well. Pascal played well.
I mean, I was rooting for Pascal.
Yeah, you kind of got
I
it.
wanted him to win.
Yeah.
Godfair's gift.
Yeah, dude. Good thing we bought all those copies.
We predicted Marty wouldn't win, or which makes us look smarter. But if you think about it, you were talking about how we were cursed. Maybe it would have been better if Mardu did win, because then we could have sold to people that were cursed and been like, "What are you playing at the Pro Tour? Pay us however much, and we'll predict it doesn't win."
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That would. I don't know if that would work. I don't think.
What?
Because then we're being kind of like lucky underhandedly, right? By like engineering a situation in which we actually are getting lucky.
We just pay people
through our unlucky. Right?
I see. Yeah.
So.
And it's like not the most moral way to make money.
Whatever.
But if you want to exchange,
we're definitely going to get banned for even saying this now. No, I'm just kidding.
If you want to exchange money for Magic related product legally, go to wizardtower.com for all your singles needs.
Okay, that was a good one. Yeah, as always, this podcast is brought to you by wizardtower.com.
Yeah.
With shipping in the United States and Canada.
Free on singles.
Free for all your single needs.
Yeah.
Not like single needs as in like you're not dating anyone. That sounded weird. It's like the voice I put on made it sound like an advertisement.
If you're buying Magic cards, you're not dating anyone.
Yeah, you're the only single one in this room, dude.
Why you gotta put me on the spot like that?
All right, so
jealous. Wish I was. No, I'm just kidding.
So back on the Pro Tour a little bit, we didn't really see anything that innovative pop up, which is kind of what I was talking about last week. We did see like there was the mono white vampires deck that showed up.
But that deck was a top 16 from SCG, remember? Ryan and I were talking about it, and we said the monument decks, and that's what got kind of like weeks ago, got Cam and I talking about different monument decks. But yeah, definitely innovative.
Yeah, and then there was that one cycling deck.
Dude, that guy went 8-2 in standard.
Yeah.
Did you, that guy apparently last Pro Tour or whatever, Phil Sams worked with him.
Oh, yeah.
And Phil Sams referred to him as the genius French brewer that I worked with at the last Pro Tour. Went 8-2 with a cycling deck at this Pro Tour. You can find it on MTG Goldfish for any listeners.
Yeah.
It's wild. There's 2 abandoned sarcophagus in it,
yeah.
and Drakehaven.
Yeah.
And it went 8-2 in standard at the Pro Tour.
That's insane.
Yeah, Phil said that guy's like a genius, though. Like he's just like a god tier brewer,
Yeah.
Elliot Boussard, I want to say is his name.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that deck has legs, but it was sweet.
Dude, he went 8-2.
Got wings.
Dude,
bunch of drakes.
It went 8-2 at the Pro Tour. Like,
yeah,
you don't go 8-2 at the Pro Tour with a bad deck. Like, I just don't think you do. Not in this. Not in a metagame that had mono red and rug. Right? Like,
yeah.
There's no way. There's no way. Like, the deck has to be good.
I mean,
like,
I don't know.
Dude,
I don't know.
if you went 8-2 in standard at the Pro Tour, like, how happy would you be? Even if you didn't top 8. You'd be thrilled, right? You'd be like, holy crap, I brewed this random ass deck that went 8-2 at the Pro Tour. Yeah, you'd be pumped. Ecstatic. So the deck has to be real. Or he's just literally the best player in the world and just dunking on nerds with a ham sandwich. Like, well, like maybe.
I don't know.
Either way, it's still got to
Crumpling.
be a reasonably strong ham sandwich.
Yeah. Got a lead pipe hidden in that ham sandwich. How you smashing these people with that?
Stale bread.
Yeah. Put some granite in there.
Yeah. So like pretty much like we expected, all the best performing decks were teamer, some kind of energy deck. You
Yeah.
had some mono red sprinkling, but like it was all teamer.
Yeah, even though all the rug decks sort of got knocked out early, right? Like in the top 8.
In the top 8, yeah, but they were still best performing. and-
Yeah, but it was, if you look at the statistics from MTG Goldfish, its win rate was just average.
Mhm.
And in fact, I think it was slightly below. Mono red actually had a higher expected performance than normal.
Yeah. That's that's all tied into the amount of deck, like the amount of that deck
That's
was in the room.
exactly. That's the thing.
Because
Like,
I mean, teamer was a massive part of the
I think it
field.
was 30% or something.
Yeah.
But
so I mean, when you have that deck, that's such a huge part of the field. You're gonna have
yeah,
that.
but its
lower
win rate
percentage,
wasn't
yeah.
dominate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
but-
of course,
That's what you'd expect from just a good mid-range deck.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Especially
exactly.
one that's being targeted. Like, if it comes out with a 47, 45% win rate, like, yeah, okay.
I think it had about a 60,
Oh,
something like that, or I don't know, somewhere around there.
even better.
Yeah. But mono red was something like 8% above what a normal deck would be expected to perform at for its level. So mono red did really well, which we kind of said on the podcast, like potentially mono red like does very well if people skimp and think it's bad, because it just got like crumbled at Worlds outside of Javier Dominguez making it to the finals. It got dunked on at Worlds. Like its win rate was like 20%.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
Mhm.
Just one guy did well, like literally ran hotter than the sun, right? And so that, that happens, but mono red at the Pro Tour did, fairly well.
And these Pro
Yeah.
Tour lists were heavier on creatures too, right? Like, there were more harsh mentors around. And,
Rampaging for also
Yeah.
going.
which is also what we said they would do, but
Correct.
Yeah.
3 smart for you.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
It was
a
cool.
good Pro Tour,
Yeah,
but I mean,
the coverage was obviously infuriating.
they
had it-
What did you expect?
I mean, I didn't think they'd start an even more annoying trend than usual, which, okay, first off, they did, of course, the classic thing that we were chirping about all weekend, which was like, oh, these pros are just so smart, like too smart for you, which is like why we were making the joke all weekend.
Mhm.
But they were doing this thing, and I don't know if it was intentional or like WotC had told them like do this more, but they kept being like, and if you were watching, you might have not paid as much attention and noticed. Is they'd be like, oh no, what about this like Glorybringer? Like, I don't think he can answer it. Like, how's he gonna beat it? And then the guy like draws card for the turn. It was like, I don't know, whatever, a land, right? And then he just tap and harness lightning the Glorybringer. And they'd be like, oh my god, harness lightning off the top. Like, can you believe it? Wow, what a top deck. And it was like in his hand the whole time. And they did it multiple times. Like, and I was just getting so angry, like watching it. And so it was really frustrating because like it was so frustrating because like there were times where players were clearly like leaving up and like not using their harness lightning early because they knew like I need to kill like a Glorybringer or a Skyship or something. And so like it was just very frustrating because it was like, why don't you guys instead highlight the actual good play that's happening? Like, oh yeah, it's like saving his removal because this, creature doesn't matter and he's like waiting to try and ping off this. Like, that's worth mentioning, right? Not just like, oh my god, RNG.
That's an interesting irony that they constantly talk about how deep and thoughtful all these plays are, and then actively gloss over all these plays.
Well, because they can't recognize them.
Sure, but like,
But it was like Cheon who did it too. That's why I was like kind of pissed.
Yeah, I don't know. He whenever I've watched coverage and he's in the booth, he just never seems to understand what's actually going on in game,
Agreed.
which is always confusing to me
Agreed.
because I actually think he's a good Magic player.
I'm skeptical.
But, well,
I actually don't know. I don't think I don't want to say. I don't want to chirp people on air, but yeah.
yeah, I don't know. And like we said last week, they just need to get people in the booth that actually know what's going on. Because when LSV is in the booth for the top 8, he'll actually explain the plays that's going on because he understands.
So much better this time too. He didn't do those stupid like inside jokes, like the dumb punny like thing that he usually does that I complain about that I think is alienating for new players. I think he's actually learned that is alienating for new players.
Maybe.
So he's way better now. Yeah, way better.
Yeah, but
But the Pro Tour I thought was like
holy crap. I cannot actually ever remember a top 8 with so many punts
dude, it was crazy.
all over the place.
I-
It blew my mind.
I literally said to somebody who won a PPTQ, shouts to Nick, like a local player, won one, and he was like, somebody said to him like, "Oh, well, you played like Salta Energy, like the deck also won the Pro Tour the same day you won the PPTQ, like obviously like deck's busted and like and all this." And I was like, "Yeah, well, that Pro Tour top 8 was probably about the same skill level as the PPTQ you won, like given the gameplay I saw, because like man, that was like."
Yeah. Like
I can't like the Yam Wing Chun punt from last Pro Tour where he just like moved to combat with his Hazoret, like that was one of the biggest punts of all time.
It was bad, but understandable, right? Like the rush of adrenaline when you like realize that you top decked your one outer to win the Pro Tour, like
and that go to the finals.
Yeah, to go to the finals.
Yeah, but like, and also that guy's like a good player. He missed top 8 on tiebreakers this time.
Didn't slow roll the draw enough.
And he's clearly a good player. He just it was a punt, but like. It's understandable. Whereas this top 8 was filled with just crazy punts, like crazy. Like the Sam Eisenfeld or whatever versus the Mike Sigrist, like quarterfinals was maybe one of the ugliest matches of Magic I've ever watched in my life.
That one was actually hard to watch.
It was dude.
I was yelling at my computer.
Yeah, if people want to go back and watch some ugly ass Magic, like oh man, and my favorite was the coverage narrative. This whole like 2SMRT4U thing, right? Like the best players in the world, and all this, and like it's just like horrendous play after horrendous play. Like man, if I were Mike Sigrist, I'd be like breaking a table after I did what he did. Like I would be like raging. I'd be like, I just threw away like $20,000. Like. Right? Actually, you just lit $20,000 on fire. Like he had lethal on board in the final turn and just did into attack with his long tusk cup, which was lethal every way over. Yeah. He just literally threw away like whatever the difference between quarters and semis is, like at least probably $10,000 or something.
I don't actually know.
It doesn't matter. It's thousands of dollars. Like I would be raging, man.
Yeah.
The turn before he misplayed, like it was so bad.
Like I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, oh, okay. So he just does this, untaps, attacks with everything, has lethal, game over. Like his opponent doesn't have cards. So there's nothing to think about. Then he thinks about his attack for like a minute.
Oh, 10.
Yeah. And then finally makes the wrong attack. So he loses. And then then the judge comes over and
tries to issue a slow play warning as the game's ending, as the handshake's going on. It was the most cringe. I was like also raging about that in chat. If you remember, I was like, if I was a WotC employee or like in charge, I'd be like, that judge is fired, and I never want him. Like, no, he's done. He's done. Like I'm stripping him his judgeship. Like he's off because like literally it was the last turn of the game. Yeah, you can issue a slow play warning. Do it after the match, dude. Like, you can't issue those slow play warning right now. Like they're literally about to shake hands, and you step in front of the camera, and so people don't get to see the handshake. They don't get to see the lethal attack. Like, they literally ruined viewership. Now I realize like. Whatever, you can make the argument that like the integrity of the game is more important, but like they weren't making slow play calls all match, and then this idiot judge decides to step in at the last second. Like, dude, it was painful. If you were watching that from like a sports perspective, you'd just be raging. Like, it was horrible. Like everything about that top 8 was like sloppy and ugly. Yeah, it was kind of great to watch because it was like watching the matches. I mean, because like they were such train wrecks. Like people were just making mistake after mistake.
I don't know if you noticed this, but one of my buddies from Sudbury messaged me during the top 8, asked me if I was watching. And I said, yeah. And he was kind of getting the impression that that the kind of the way commentary was going every time they talked about that Sam guy, it was kind of like he didn't belong to be there and he was just lucky. Did you kind of get that feeling?
Oh, 100%. I think that's some bullshit, frankly.
Yeah.
Pardon my French Reno. But no, man, no. Because like you don't just noob lucker your way into a top 8. Like I think that came from his winning in versus Reed Duke. He made multiple mistakes on camera. But you could tell he was like nervous, man. He was shaking, like sweating, like his voice was quaking. And
he literally said on camera, "It's like I don't like being under the camera."
He said,
like, "I'm so nervous,
right?"
And making all these mistakes.
Yeah, and he said because he was on camera, he kept punting, and he even said, "I'm not that bad. I got here because I played tight and made very good plays the whole way through Swiss. It's just I was on camera and I was super nervous, winning in for top 8. Like I was freaking out. Yeah, and he was just really nervous and worried, and you can tell. And I don't like this attitude that like he wasn't like filled with swagger and confidence, so he sucks. I find that attitude super toxic and kind of humorous from a bunch of Magic nerds, right? To like as if this like bravado is like, it's probably a bunch of nerds who got bullied, right? And then they think that like having bravado and swagger makes you like a good player just because like Those are the people that dunked on them all their lives. But
Yeah, kind of grim.
yeah, but like no, really, because like
Yeah.
it's a thing in Magic players. Because like I used to get mad. There's a guy I can't remember. He's just like some fat mess who like chirped me at a tournament because I have like I have benign essential tremors, right? Like my handshake.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, you just scrub, you just nervous." Like, and I was like, "Are you serious right now?" Like, and I crumpled him in like a tournament at GP. And I was like, "Dude, you played horribly." And I just started chirping him after. I was like, "Dude, you suck. Like, you played so badly."
Man, you're an asshole.
Yeah, because he was like making fun of my like
Your
handshaking and
Yeah.
stuff, and I was like, "Okay, like I don't know what your problem is." Like I was trying to be nice at first, and like.
Yeah.
I accidentally like dropped a card at one point because my hands were shaky, like and I wasn't nervous. He's like, "Oh, like idiot new player can't even hold his cards," and I was like, "Okay, I'm X1 at this GP. It's round 12. Like, don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
Like stomp. I was X2, I think, but like stomped him.
Mhm.
Like afterwards, I was like, "Well, you played horribly, and here's why." And I like went over his lines. I was like, "You suck, dude." Like, and he just chirped me, and it was because like I didn't have this like whatever, right? Like, and also I kind of do intentionally use that to my advantage, like.
Your
I'm
shakes.
just a dumb, nervous, like new player. I don't know what's happening
Mhm.
because like people don't know any better and they think you're a donkey and you just bait them into like terrible plays, which is exactly what I did to that guy.
Mhm.
And they cheered me afterwards. I was like, I can drop from the tournament and we can go outside, but he didn't because he's scared. But
Family show.
oh, dude, I was riled, dude.
Family
I hate
show.
that guy. But he's like chirping someone for a disability, man. Come on. But I almost want to call out his name. I was so yeah. Because he's like been on coverage on SCG a bunch too. He's like a actual American player. But anyway, I'm not gonna do that.
All right.
Just say his name. We'll bleep it out.
No. But no.
much
People
work.
chat was really ruthless to that guy, I thought. And I think like he's obviously a good player.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't
Yeah, I don't know. Just I didn't really notice it until my buddy brought it up, but I kind of got the feeling that every time like someone like Marshall's talking about or like oh yeah, he's obviously just happy to be here, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, hate
First
that.
Pro Tour. I'm like, like you're pretty much saying he just got extremely lucky to top 8 his first.
Yeah,
Pro Tour.
yeah, that narrative coverage.
Which
Like,
he did, but at the same time, it wasn't all luck.
well, everyone gets extremely lucky who top 8'd their Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Any Pro Tour. Every
Yeah.
Pro Tour. Anyone who besides maybe Paulo, like no,
Yeah.
like everyone is extremely lucky to have top 8'd a Pro Tour. Like,
Yeah.
Of course they were. Like, yeah, I thought that was very frustrating. Like, he's just happy to be here. Like, oh, he's facing up against #1 in the world, Reed Duke. Like,
Mhm.
it's just like your rankings change like weekly. Like, I don't know what you're talking.
Yeah.
The coverage narrative is.
It was kind of funny. I was watching that match at my girlfriend's place on the TV with her, and I'm like explaining Magic to her as we're watching. And I'm explaining what the numbers are beside their name. And she's like, oh, well, why does that guy have a 1 beside his name? I'm like, oh, it's the first ranked player in the world. She's like, holy shit. And the other guy's just not ranked. She's like, you must be so nervous. I'm like, yeah, well, last GP I was at, I beat that guy in the last round. Like, number 1 ranked player in the world, crumpled him.
Right,
She
like,
just
that's
looked
why
at me
I,
like I was an idiot. But I'm like, oh, yeah, I did.
Mangled him. Though it
Crushed
was
him.
like Ron said too. He's like, well, I mean, I guess that's why Sigrist is 0-2 lifetime against me. I just chirped him. Wasn't it like Ron had the same thing when he beat Shar Shenar? He's like, well, I guess because he's beat him twice. He's like,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm 2-time world champion. Stole his titles twice. But no, obviously, I hate that narrative. Like, I think it is an important story to bring up. Like, even if sorry, I got all riled there, but like, it is important to bring that up because I think that's a really bad attitude to have.
Mhm.
This guy sucks. He just got lucky. Okay, well, you're not learning anything.
Yeah.
Like, so we didn't really do a week that was, but we played at the Tower Open this weekend.
Yep.
And there was a player I watched who played terribly in game 1, won game 2, and in game 3 kept a completely unkeepable hand, and then complained they got unlucky when they like didn't draw lands. And I was like, I mean, you kept a hand where you can't cast a single spell for multiple turns.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know what you expected. But they were like, I got unlucky. I should have won that match. Right? Because he's playing against somebody who's like not as good, I guess, like air quotes, and like kind of like
In their eyes.
more nervous.
we're-
Right.
It
and it's
wasn't
like-
even that. I heard this player talking later, and their logic was more like, I made a minor mistake to lose game 1, and it's a mistake that I feel on average I wouldn't make. So in my mind, I should have won game 1, and then I also won game 2, so the match should have been over. I shouldn't have played the game 3 where I kept a bad hand and lost. So the choices there don't matter,
Yeah.
which is completely wrong. You should have played
Yeah.
that game 3 because you punted game 1.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you just can't go around thinking like that. Like, you can't go around retroactively unmaking all your mistakes to have other mistakes not matter because It's a crazy train of logic.
Yeah, it's the same kind of logic though that comes with that coverage narrative of like this guy's new, like he just got lucky, like
Yeah.
so and so deserves to win, or like if they're the expected favorite, like that's in game. That's just not how things work. Like
Right. Like you can have an expected favorite, but like upsets happen. That's why they don't just sign the slip immediately. They still play the game.
right, and also like somebody at the professional level of any game or sport is clearly good.
Yes.
Like they're not just some scrub like you're
Clearly,
styling
yeah.
on, you know, like
Yeah.
nobody goes into like the fight game, for example, being like, I don't have to train for this guy. Like, you know, like I'm not going to train. This guy's a scrub. He's new. I never heard of him. You know, like no one thinks like that. That's insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes you play worse. Like it's a toxic mentality to have in that it makes the community kind of miserable, but also like if you have this mentality and you play against someone and you first somehow convince yourself that, you're the favorite or you should win, then like you're just never going to learn from your mistakes. You're going to make like as you were saying, your opponent made mistakes against you because they underestimated. Like you just can't. It's such a bad mentality to have.
Yeah, you can't bring anything with you to the table.
Even if you don't want to be a better person, selfishly, you should want to play better, which means you shouldn't underestimate your opponent. So like be nice because it will help you win.
Correct, actually. And so I think that I have a theory about what happened to Sigrist and what almost happened to Seth, who played Sam in the semis, is that they bought into that narrative. They bought into, this guy's just like a donkey. Like, I'm just going to beat him easily. And they made weird plays and like played badly because like they didn't respect him.
You think so?
It has to be.
I've done it. I've definitely played.
I'm
against
definitely
people,
guilty of that too, where I'm like, nah, no way. Like
they don't have sleeves, or like I haven't seen this player here before, or like they clearly aren't untapping their lands before they draw, and then like I convince myself that they'll make some bad play, and so I'll or they'll make some bad block and I'll attack, and they don't, and then I get blown out on the crackback because I was expecting them like to just do things that don't make sense.
Yeah,
it's
I think that dude, I think that happened, which is why I bring up this story, right, about like my shaky ass hands and like the Pro Tour with that guy. Like I think that like Mike didn't respect him and got crumpled because of it. I think,
air quotes.
I mean,
he should have won.
I mean, that guy
Right.
also didn't play exactly.
Yeah.
That guy also missed lethal at one
Yeah.
point, so
It was
not a good look. But what I'm saying is
No.
like I could definitely see somebody like I'm not saying that he's a bad dude for doing this like at all. Like I've played against him. He's a super nice guy. Like Mike Sigrist is like one of the friendliest dudes, you know.
mhm.
But I could see like this isn't a knock on his character, but I could definitely see you're like player of the year before. I like top 8'd before a Pro Tour. Like I could see being like I'll just like, and he really got him in game 2 with like a really good play. He baited him into a bad attack and got him really good in game 2, and he sort of like it was like a rudimentary like bait, right? He like suckered him into a bad attack, and so I think he thought, okay, this guy's like, I'll just easy mode this guy onto the finals, right? And then he got like I definitely could see that happening because like
Maybe, but like I wouldn't put it past just being nerves. Like I'm sure every Pro Tour top 8 is just as nerve wracking as the first one.
oh yeah, for sure. I think
And-
like Mike Seeger's definitely nervous, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like I think he might not have like respect him as much as a competitor and cost him.
Maybe.
I
Who
mean,
knows?
I'm just talking on my ass. I could not know, but I'm saying like
Yeah.
for sure I could see that happening, and I think that happens a lot, right? In
Oh, for sure.
Magic, because that's what chat was doing, that's what coverage was doing, that's what that
Yeah.
guy at the recent or the GP I was talking about, he did to me. Like
Mhm.
they just assume you're a donkey. You should never assume your opponent's a donkey. If your opponent's willing to travel and play in a GP, like they might be very, very good. Because when I first started going to GPs, I played against some crazy good grinders who like I didn't know at the time that they had like multiple GP top 8s and just hadn't been on the Pro Tour, and they're not famous, but like
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One time I told you I played Yam. Like I played Yam Wing Chun in a side event, and I just thought he was some random scrub. And then like 6 months later, top 8 at Pro Tour. I was like, oh, jeez. He's a gold level pro. My bad.
Did you beat him?
I can't remember. Yeah, I think so. No, he beat me. He was playing ramp.
Hmm.
Yeah, he got me with Ulamogs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Missed that card. R.I.P.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but Ulamog's better off gone.
True.
Agreed.
He'll
Stay
live
in
on.
hellish modern.
He'll live on forever in my Tron deck. Yeah. So
That's actually an interesting kind of like sidebar topic for getting better, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that was kind of interesting. That was like a improvisational moment, or impromptu moment. Sorry, I should say.
you mean like every episode?
Every single episode,
we've ever
we
done.
do it live. Sometimes we have a sentence of a topic in mind. Like
Sure, but-
I think 5 words describing what we're going to talk about. That's about the extent of our planning.
But yeah, no, I thought it was interesting. I also thought it was kind of our topic in some way from last week, Care Less. I thought that the top 8 also should have listened to our podcast, not only for our predictions, but also for our insightful commentary on to relax.
Yeah.
And think through their plays as if they were playing a real game instead of being so uptight and stressed.
It's care less about the game, care more about your opponent.
Right. Just be an empathetic.
Yeah.
Be a good person.
It's so weird to hear coming from you.
Also, I thought it was funny. I woke up at 3 p.m. today and I just started laughing. And I was like, well, the Pro Tour is over. Back to a screwed up sleep schedule. like we were joking last week.
Yeah, man. You've been nocturnal again.
Yeah.
Playing MOBAs, learning about how to be a good person.
Yeah. Dude, just trying to save the NA scene one compliment to my teammates at a time. Just getting mono honor over here. They love me. I'm just positive. Constantly jamming the thumbs up emote.
Every time I see Adam now, he's got some story about like, oh, I was playing this game online. Like I was playing Overwatch, or I was playing League, and like someone was yelling at me because I, did this thing, and I thought it was fine, but they were really angry. So I told them, good luck in your future games. Just being so nice.
Yeah, dude, just killing them with kindness out here. Just looking out for the NA scene. Dude, it's great. Because like, it's such a like. So I've been watching Fargo, that show's really good. And like there's this thing where this guy who isn't from the area is like, you guys really piss me off because like you have this nice, like everything's nice, but really you're holding me hostage and like it's underhanded, like BS, And I was like, oh, that's pretty good, right? Like that's what, that's kind of what I'm doing in those games. Like, okay, then good luck in your future matches. Like, and they can tell I'm like kind of sarcastic about it, but like I'm gonna start doing that at Magic tournaments too.
Yeah.
Another thing at coverage I was tilted about too was like, when are we going to see the heel interview?
The what?
The heel interview when someone, because like they did so many interviews now, like in rounds kind of 14, 15, and 16. They so many interviews like, oh, you might be locked for top 8. I want to see like, how did that match go? I just want to see someone be like, crumpled him. That guy sucks. Like I want to see the Magic heel. I'm never gonna like a wrestling heel, but I'm never gonna see it.
No, probably not. Unless it's
So,
you.
right, that's what I said in chat. Remember, I was like, I got to top 8 a GP or something, or win a GP just so I could just chirp. Be like, that was the easiest tournament of my goddamn life. Just chirp everybody, like, I just be like so rude and be like, you're all dumb. It's Dr. Adam Ben to you. Like, just be so condescending. Like,
How was your deck? Not great, but I'm a god.
yeah, deck's terrible. I wouldn't play it. Luckily, everybody sucked. Just like, GG, no read noobs, and like leave.
I mean, if you ever win a tournament now and don't say that, we're going to call you out so hard.
Oh, I 100% will. I don't care. I think it's funny. Because I assume people would know I was joking. Well,
Probably not, but
probably just get the pitchforks, man,
yeah,
coming
it'd be
for
a whole Reddit mob.
You gotta just
after
make it
you.
obviously a character. Like put a fake mustache over your real
So
mustache.
I was like kind of doing it to like friends of ours that I played this weekend because we didn't really talk about. We also played like Pro Tour Wizards Tower, where
Yeah.
after talking about Pummeler on air, I got excited and played Pummeler at Pro Tour Wizards Tower, in which I pommeled Standard, losing only to the basically mirror and just kicking everyone else's teeth in with Pummeler. And the best was round 1 I played somebody and I went like turn 1 Forest and they were like, oh yeah, okay, Adam's on rug, like makes sense, right? Until like turn 2 Haship Oasis Servant and he was just like, oh no, am I getting Pummeler? I'm like, yeah, 100%. And after I killed him, I just looked up and I was like, crumpled. It was like a buddy of ours and I was like, get pummeled, Chad, peace. Sign that match slip and get out of my face. Like I was just chirping him like as a joke, basically, like get pummeled. And like the whole day, like every time I played like a friend, like smushed Evan, like because he's playing so dirtily. He was playing like Marionette Master in round 4 and I just like obviously just like annihilated him. Game 2, I beat him through his like triple fatal push draw. It was the only chance he could win. It was like draw a million fatal pushes. But yeah, mangled him. And I just like same thing as like get pummeled Evan. Just like because that deck's such a heel deck, you know what I'm saying? But like I beat some random control guy in game 2 and I was like nice about it. I was like, yeah, it's a pretty bad matchup for you. Like he's trying to like didn't want to just look him in the face and be like, get pummeled. Dude.
Get pummeled.
Which is what I did to all my friends. Like every friend I played, I was like, get pummeled, moron.
So you 3-1 Standard and then you 1-2 draft?
I won one and then I conceded on the split to my opponent, who is a friend of mine, and he traveled from out of town for the Open, and I knew at that point Cam was unlocked for top 8, so I thought we could just go.
Yeah.
And I could just prize split with him if I concede. And he was like, he XO'd standard with the same deck basically, and then was a little different. And I'm going to talk about that deck next week or something. But yeah, and he was going to 0-3 draft. Like we played for fun, and he 0-2'd. Like I was X2 when I played him, they paired on record, and he was going to like miss, and he was so devastated. And I was like, dude, before we even played, I was like, I'm conceding 2 and leaving.
Yeah.
Because I just like didn't feel like, I was tired, and I didn't feel like playing any more Magic, and I'd just take the split, call it a day.
Yeah. So I played Esper Gift, and I 2-2'd standard. There was definitely a match I could have won if I knew how to sideboard properly with the deck, which I'm still trying to figure out. And I definitely just didn't sideboard correctly versus blue-black control and lost because of it.
Yeah, I saw it.
But then I 2-1 to the draft. Crumpled Cam in the last round.
Yeah, I was joking. Remember, I came up and I was like, "Is this the $25 DWC grudge match?"
Yeah,
because the winner would top 16.
Yep.
They were good matches. I wasn't playing great, so like
No. Crumpled them.
Honestly, like I remember, like I split because I just couldn't be around Magic players anymore.
Man,
because I was at the time I quit smoking, right, and I was like
vaping.
Yeah, but I was like, I didn't have it. Battery was dead, and I was like 3 days into quitting smoking. And like, I just couldn't be around a bunch of Magic people. Like, I just couldn't be around people, I was getting like very rattled and like, I don't know. I just was grumpy, right? So I was like, all right, I'm splitting. Let's go home. Like I'm getting rattled. So
yeah. So I want to talk about my draft a little bit just because it really just shows how terrible this format is. So I drafted black-white and I splashed red for Huatli. And the player on my right was in Blue-Red Pirates. Player on his right was Cam, who was in Merfolk. And then player on his right was also in Blue-Green. The player on my left was in Green-Red. So I drafted black-white, found my colors early, but just deck never came together.
dude, your deck sucked.
My deck was it was very mediocre.
For like, for literally 5 players around you at the table, literally no one besides you in your colors.
I had like 2 drops in my deck.
Yeah,
it was like, the cards never came. It was very, very odd. And there was one other black-white drafter at the table who was literally opposite to me. I was seat 4, he was seat 8. So he was like opposite corner of me. He ended up 3-0ing the draft. I 2-1'd, but yeah, I don't know. It was just so weird that I found the colors I was supposed to be in early, and then just nothing happened, even though no one around me was drafting my colors. It just didn't make sense at all.
Yeah. No, we've been saying this for a while, that like there are just packs with no playables.
Yeah. It happened a lot.
Yeah. Like you just can't do anything. My draft deck was like actually nuts, and I got maybe like the most unlucky I can remember being to lose my round 1 in my draft. I won round 2 very easily. My deck was like on like ranking very, very high and should have easily won round 1, and I just like
you drafted red white aggro, right?
Yeah, with a bunch like 6 1-drops.
Yeah,
a bunch of 2-drops and a bunch of swashbuckling. Like
it looked very good.
My deck was crazy. Like my opponent in round 1, who I lost to, like I had played 4 spells, I want to say, this game, and I had 9 lands in play, and my hand was 2 lands, and they're at 1, and I have a 4-2 and a 4-3 Sleek Schooner, and they're at 1. He attacks, has 2 cards in hand, attacks with everything. I'm at 20, like go to whatever, because game's gone long. Take like 5. And then he plays his land, so he has 1 card in hand. I'm like, okay. And then plays out his creature. I'm like, what? If I draw, because Sleek Schooner's crew 1, if I draw any non-land, like it's either a burn spell, because it's the only card left in my deck are Unfriendly Fire.
And creatures.
And creatures.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, like what is he doing? Why would he make this attack? And then he did it again the next turn. I drew land, obviously. And then he did it again the next turn. Played out his land in hand. I drew land. Again. And then the 3rd time, and then I died. I was like rattled mad. Like only because my opponent played so like misplayed on attacks and I couldn't punish it. I was like rattled, man. Like super rattled. And then like I just comically flooded in game 2 too. I was like, all right, fine. But my draft deck was like legitimately nuts. Like I steamrolled my next round opponent in the draft because like paired against the loss, right?
Yeah.
And then like I could have played my winning in, but I just didn't care.
Whatever. Gab, what'd you play in Standard?
I played green black energy as I was talking about, thinking of doing. It's been a while now. I've been busy with other stuff, but like I went 2-2 in Standard. Deck was fine. Like, mulled to 5 and lost a game. Trying to remember what my other loss was, but I don't know. The games were just normal. Like one person drew a bunch of removal spells, and so I didn't win. Another time I like got screwed on land and didn't win, or like mulled to 5 and didn't win. I don't know. The deck didn't feel very good, didn't feel very bad. It was just fine. I don't really have anything insightful to say about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fun tournament though. Like we all did.
It's
like
always
fine.
a fun tournament.
Yeah, it was always a fun tournament. Like pummeling was fun, and I couldn't stop kind of laughing about like we just followed the own podcast advice. Like, just care less and pummel people. Deck's probably good enough, and I had like a very good Standard record, and my loss was like to the pseudo mirror.
Yeah, like I don't feel I lost any games because I was playing green black. Like the games I lost, any creature deck would have lost. Like I lost to my opponent having like drawing only 3 bone pickers and 5 removal spells. Like that's just a very good draw.
Yeah. So like, I think it's interesting because a listener messaged us. By the way, like any listeners, like please like message us questions like this for topic ideas and stuff. Like because we love getting them. Like, how do you beat the best decks and stuff? And we kind of touched on this last week. Like, I think when teamer like a mid range deck like this is the best deck. Like you can kind of just play any deck's like good enough. Really, you just have to have cards for them, right? Like I think your deck selection, all the decks we played in Standard, were all fine. You know, like your issue was like sideboarding. Like Alex's issue was like he just like wasn't sure how to sideboard. You know, like I just didn't sideboard because I was playing Pommeler.
Yeah, as long as you like, and we've been saying this the last few episodes, but as long as you have a plan for the best decks, like in a weak Standard or in a small set Standard, pretty much anything that is. Obviously, there's going to be some brews that are just not strong enough, but anything, with some of the more popular rares or some of the very good uncommons in them, like any of these will be fine.
Yeah, like I remember that story I lost to like the guy playing like Tixatli or whatever. Like, I don't know any of the names. Like Honor Guard, the 2-mana 1/3. Like
Tixatli Honor Guard, yeah.
That nothing triggers when it enters play. Like, yeah, I lost to that like red-white hate bears deck in Standard. Like it kicked my teeth in. Like games were close because like small set Standard, like you said, is like pretty underpowered. And the field's like sort of known, and when it's this known, you can play kind of like out there cards, right?
Yeah. And they don't even have to be that out there, but like if you look at the results of the Pro Tour, there was a teamer list that wasn't playing Glorybringers and was instead playing Sky Sovereign. Like, it's fine. Both decks are good. Sky Sovereign is probably better against the mirror because it can shoot down something every turn instead of every other turn. And
but it might be worse in some matchups, but
right,
both are fine.
Yeah, but if you want to beat teamer, you just want to play cards you know are good. So a teamer shell with some cards for teamer. Sky Sovereign.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. I don't know. So really, was there anything that happened this weekend at the Pro Tour that you guys feel like we should talk about?
I was also going to say, like, because that Sam guy, our coverage and chat was like chirping him, like New Black or whatever. Like, that guy was great. He's super nice. But also his sideboard for Mardu was like A+, man.
Was it? Let me pull it up.
It's our blowout of the week, dude. I'm just like giving it away now because we weren't going to have one. But like, I'm sending that guy a foil copy of Dust Dawn because his Mardu list was playing Dust Dawn, 3 of them. And like, oh man, was it good. And wow, is it good in that deck when you're getting back walking. Like at one point he got back 2 walking ballistas and like 2 toolcraft exemplars or something like that. Like it's nuts. Like it was so good. It gets back PNLR. Like your Hazoret doesn't die. Right?
Yeah.
Gets back Bomat Couriers. Gets back anything you discarded with a Bomat Courier.
Right. And it kills Scrap Heap Scrounger, which you don't care about. Like the cards it kills in your deck, you don't care that it kills them.
You can't bring back your Scrounger though because you're donning back every other card in your graveyard. But
if you have 5 mana, you're winning anyway, whatever. But I'm saying like,
yeah,
if you don't have the time to recast the backside, it's not a big deal. You can get your Scrounger back. Like it's just really well positioned in the deck. Like they really built a cool sideboard for Mardu, I thought. Like 3 Rampaging Frost on it kind of plays the same like Hate Bears plan as Mono Red. It's similar to Mono Red, but like to me, they in coverage they were saying like Mardu has kind of fallen off because it's not as powerful as Mono Red it's more powerful. They said that, but it's less consistent than mono red, right? Because its mana base is so ugly, you know. But it's probably not worth the power level generally. But I think if you're playing like Dust Dawn, that's like a game changer. Like that's a huge deal, man. The rug matchup, the card's phenomenal. It's going to be good against the Sultai energy decks. Like,
so that was kind of the problem. Like I played Mardu a bit recently, and as you mentioned, like the mana's bad, and so the games where you draw like, you know, 3 fast lands, one that's red, one that's black, and like you just curve out and then you unlicensed and, you know, you kill your opponent. It feels nuts. The deck feels unbeatable. But it's where you stumble and your mana's kind of bad and the game starts going later, or this happens more post board because they have more removal for you, that then Teamer gets like, you know, 2 Thopters and they have a Glorybringer or a Hydra and they just can race back. But this Dusk Dawn lets you
come back.
Lets you spend time drawing to your drawing enough lands so that your mana's fine, and also not dying when Teamer assembles that board position because you waited.
Right, like Mardu can't play from behind.
Right.
Like Toolcraft Exemplar is not a good card on defense. Neither is Scrap Heap Scrounger. These cards don't block. They're just not interested in blocking. But Dust Dawn lets you play a whole different game. Like it creates so much card advantage and one-sided Wrath them. Like it's just incredible. The best part is you get to Dust Dawn pre-combat and then pump your Toolcraft Exemplar to where it would die to a Dust Dawn in attack, or
and then
crew your
heart,
heart, you know, like it's insane. Like it's so good. It was so good. Phil was talking about how, like, yeah, it made him want to go play Mardu again, you know, like he was so excited. Gonna have to go to the doctor. Last more than 4 hours. He was so excited.
Yeah, from dusk till dawn.
Okay, that's good. Family show. But yeah, no, I thought the list was their sideboard, and they had like a really solid sideboard plan. They even had like the planes in the board, right, for the Dust Dawn. Like
I've mentioned this before, but every time there's a land in the sideboard, that person's a genius.
Yeah, just
Pascal
crazy
Maynard.
going
they
on.
just did the math.
Man, Pascal Maynard
Also had a
That-
land in the board, didn't he?
land in the board.
Yeah,
but
because
it's a creature land.
it's a hostile
Hostile
desert
desert.
because he boards into a bajillion like 5-drops, and also
Yeah.
like you're just putting a bunch of lands in your graveyard
Yeah, you
anyway.
could easily turn this on every turn.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well,
That's
actually,
nice.
there was a point where Pete was talking about it back when I was playing Blue Black Reanimator, when like Ishkanal was still standard legal. We were like playing Hostile Deserts because like it made the control matchup for the Reanimator deck like bearable. And then, but it turned out you didn't really need it. The matchup was fine. But yeah, no, it was really good. When you can put lands in your graveyard consistently, Hostile Deserts like insane.
Yeah, man. So after playing Esper Gifts for a few weeks and then just watching how he just absolutely crushed everyone with this straight blue-white deck, like this blue-white deck has to be just so much better.
Didn't you say it even that like you would just switch to blue white?
Yeah.
You just didn't have time before the tower.
Yeah.
opened.
Yeah. No. So like the thing I've like the quickest you can get a God Pharaoh's Gift into play with the Esper deck is turn 5 or turn 4
Turn 4, yeah.
if you're incredibly lucky. But that like you have to like a lot of things have to go right for that. But this deck can just do it on turn 4 quite easily
Right.
because this one's all in on the combo.
I find this like so funny too because people were like chirping this version. Like the only good version is Gate to the Afterlife, refurbished version garbage. Like, well,
No, like that.
Is it?
It's just this version's so much more consistent at getting a God Pharaoh's Gift into play,
correct.
and having your first one killed isn't really the end of the world at all. And like games go long versus this deck, and like I watched him a bunch of times just cast God Pharaoh's Gift for a 7.
Oh yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
I don't know. Yeah, I think going forward, if I'm going to be playing God Pharaoh's Gift, I'm going to play blue white.
I think this deck's great.
Yeah.
I think his sideboard plan was awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like
It was sweet. Yeah, Angel Sanctions is sweet.
for
Warden.
Fairgrounds Wardens, like
Yeah.
that card looked incredible versus Rug. Like I have a really hard time mentally with like Fiend Hunter style effects because I always think like, oh, it's gonna be so bad when like they Glorybringer and get back their Glorybringer, but it's like it's never that bad. It's actually good for you because you're just like out tempoing them, like taking away the cards. They have to use the removal. Like it actually is still a good thing. Like
Yeah.
and it happened on coverage multiple times, and he was just like play more Fairgrounds Wardens, like God Pharaoh back, like just keep.
Yeah, I had
Keep
the
the
same
pressure
sort of
off.
thought that like, oh, this won't be good against Teamer because if I ever have to exile anything with an ETB energy trigger, it's miserable if it comes back. Like I'm fine exiling Glorybringers. I mean, it's not great, but if your 1/3 eats a removal spell, then okay.
Right, like, and then the more I saw it, I was like, okay, well, I guess they're kind of trading like damage this turn for a card as well. Like, card plus tempo, like they get
Mhm.
ahead because of it. I was like, and they just need to buy time until they can get
And
Angel of Invention back. So
even if they do kill it, it's not any different like than if you played anything else and they killed it, except for they're kind of behind or they had to play awkwardly.
yeah, I thought the list was sweet.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
Do we want to talk at all about the winning list, Seth Manfield's? Like,
Yeah, we can talk about it. So it's Sultai Energy. I mean, this deck is pretty much exactly
known
what
as the
won week
old
1.
SCG.
Yeah, I mean, it's play like one less hostage taker. You have Rishkar.
One more Rishkar.
One more Rishkar.
So 2 instead of
Only
1.
one Scarab God main deck, 3 Ballista. It's playing 2 Vraska's Contempt.
I
4
like
defense.
I
Like, yeah,
like the 2 Vraska's Contempts because the reason for this for listeners is that you are 100% saving this for Glorybringer. Glorybringer is lights out for like Sultai and Green Black Energy decks.
It's so hard to deal with.
It's literally just lights out. That card just knocks your teeth out.
It was bad even when Grasp was around.
Yeah, it's so bad for you. So Vraska's Contempt is just literally there for Glorybringer. You need to kill that card.
Did you read the like really long and convoluted conspiracy theory someone
Yes.
posted about why Sultai won?
Yes, we should link it in the show notes. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we'll link it. But like the gist of it is like months ago, I played against an opponent on Teamer, and they were playing Teamer without Long Tusk Cubs, and they top decked a Mountain to beat me, which means that they thought their deck was good, which means that they convinced someone else to play the deck, which means that a third person cut Glorybringers because it's not as good against Cubless Teamer, and you can be greedier. And then because people are playing less Glorybringers, Sultai's good, and that's why it won the Pro Tour.
It's actually hilarious. Like this person's like dead serious. They think like they named it like the butterfly.
The butterfly
effect
effect of like a top deck Mountain.
It's so funny, man. It's like actually hilarious.
No, so you know a card I was very impressed with this weekend out of sideboards was Nissa.
This is Steward of Elements.
Man, that card was fantastic every time I saw it on camera.
Yeah, like
And,
doming
like,
someone for
oh,
10.
Everyone brought it. Well, a lot of the best performing energy
Teams,
decks
yeah.
all had it in their sideboard.
Well, it's a card that if they were worried about tokens, which I think everyone was, like in some way or another, which it didn't perform
Except
well at
us.
the Pro Tour
Because
we knew it was
too well.
dead. Like
Yeah.
we knew it was over. Like it was a just shone bright for only a moment, and
Mhm.
people were still worried about it. And Nissa Steward Elements is like a beating for that deck. Like you just dome them for 10 and just set up your draws. Like it was also just good versus control decks. It comes down early. It comes down at any point on the curve you need it to. Basically, like yeah, it looked great. I thought it was an A+ sideboard card. Deathgorge Scavenger also winning the Pro Tour, literally just attacking for the win. It looked amazing. It was like one of the most played creatures, hey?
Scavenger?
In sideboards, either multiple people had like
Yeah, it
so
doesn't
many
surprise me.
copies. Like
It's a great sideboard card.
it's phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
so many people were playing it because it comes in so many matchups. Glintleaf Siphoner looking unreal on camera
Man,
too.
that card is gas. God, I love that card. I need
Well,
to,
I've
no,
enjoyed playing it every time.
I just need to start playing Sultai Energy. I don't know what I'm doing with these dumb Godfarrow's gift decks.
Like Glintleaf looked just hilariously good versus Godfarrow's Gift
Mm-hmm.
because that deck needs like a single Sacred Cat to chomp and stuff, and it just couldn't. It just died. Like the finals was literally just decided by 2 Glintleaf Siphoners just smashing and drawing 2 cards a turn. Like
Yeah.
that was it, and that was it. Like
Yeah.
that card's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought his sideboard was interesting too. Like the Essence Scatter, I actually really like the Essence Scatter in his sideboard for Scarab God, which is 100%.
Yeah.
Just
Or
like
Glorybringer, as we were
yeah,
saying.
Glorybringer. You definitely bringing that in versus Glorybringer.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this sideboard clearly knows like its weak matchups. I also like the 2 Die Young in the sideboard.
Like,
That card's good in this deck.
is that just for mono red?
I imagine you bring this in versus Rug.
You think so?
Yeah, you can kill a Glorybringer.
Sorcery speed.
Yeah, but like
And what else you bring in that like is that efficient? Everything that efficient either can't kill Glorybringer or is sorcery. Like you're bringing Walk the Plank, or you're playing Die Young, or like
I guess.
the deck's not that heavy on black mana, so like
depends. It just depends. I'm curious about Seth's sideboard plan. I hope he writes an article. He probably will because he writes for TCG Player, right? He'll probably write an article. I'm curious, like against Rug, like what he boards out.
Yeah, I'd be.
I'm actually like quite curious. Like probably, like I actually don't know. Like I'm actually super
Against
curious.
Rug?
It's probably play draw dependent.
I think you get to
You're probably taking Ballista out. Yeah, maybe not actually.
List is not great against them.
Nah, you don't want. Yeah, I don't think it's good versus them.
No. Like it's not great.
And some number of blossoming defense probably.
I think you keep defense because they're probably on like a coup plan or something.
Ooh, fatal push
Fatal
maybe.
push.
Push is easy. That's what I was gonna say. Push is like an easy. It's easy to shape
'Cause
one.
only
You
gets a
might cut
cub.
right. It only gets cards they might be boarding out because
Mhm.
like you're the better cub deck,
Mhm.
so they might be taking out their cubs. Like hitting, yeah. Then it only hits servant. If they just have a draw of a bunch of 3-drops, like push is not good. And if you're taking a ballista, you like can't get revolt.
True.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not
Yeah,
that
good
that's
call.
even a good way to get revolt, but like
Yeah,
I would
no,
always
I know what you're saying.
shave push against
Against rug decks.
rug.
But I think, yeah, I just like the thought he had a really refined sideboard. That this list is obviously solid. I'm not a huge fan of this deck. Like, I'm not going to play it. It's just a bunch of dumb creatures, but deck's obviously good. Just not my style.
Yeah.
That's been standard for a while now. Like
People
what-
just kind of like, I want to say people kind of forgot about it, but like there were still versions 5-0ing Moto.
Oh, yeah.
Like
course.
it was still floating around. It was just not winning any tournaments.
So also, yeah, no, I agree. I just want to say, because I see it on the screen right below this deck list, I guess I was wrong because everyone else thought Settle the Wreckage sucked and didn't play around it. And Jeskai Approach was just crumpling people until he got to the top 8 where he couldn't win.
Hey, if you don't play
Because
around
people
it, it's nuts.
had deck lists.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that I think that Settle Wreckage like still isn't good, but he was just getting people all weekend attacking into it.
Yeah, probably.
Like he was playing 4, man.
That's deep.
I guess, but like past the first one, who cares? Then it's just
Yeah.
4 mana removal.
Yeah. Then you're just, gear hulking it back.
Yeah.
That's
So-
pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I don't know. I just really don't like approach decks. I don't want to resolve 7 mana sorceries. Like I want to resolve 7 mana instants. That's kind of like, it's a little too much for me.
I don't know. I'm still.
Do you think anything changes going forward? I think it
No.
stays about the same. Like
Yeah, like
You know what was cool? The Barals out of his sideboard.
the brawls looked good.
Yeah,
They looked actually
they're
very
pretty
good.
pretty cool.
He boarded them in like every single time too.
Yeah.
yeah. As soon as people cut removal, you bring in
Yeah,
Brawl,
they have to cut removal
Yes.
versus you. So like, yeah, it looked good.
and they
It
probably
looked-
cut it all.
And they probably don't. The craziest guy is like from a theoretical perspective, I find this quite interesting because like, let's say it goes to game 3. Like, do they bring back in removal for Brawl? Probably not. Brawl's like not threatening
They
enough.
probably can't afford to.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what's so funny about this kind of like creature package is like they can't really afford to bring it because creature's like not really good enough to justify them potentially having a dead card.
hmm
Mhm.
So it's really funny. Like I think it's like really sweet because of that. Like I think it gets more value because it's not like it's like
Because
a
it's not a
scarab
good card.
god.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not a scarab god. It's not a locus god, which he did have in the side.
Or even like the more comparable thing in the ice.
right. It's not thing in the ice that you do have to kill or it will kill you.
Right. Like people
This
used
thing's
to
a 1/3.
people used to leave in removal anticipating thing in the ice coming out of the board.
Right.
You can't do that for Brawl.
Right, because like, can you afford to like? I don't think you can.
No.
So it's like you just get free reign with your Brawl post board. So I think that's like super interesting, actually, like a really interesting deck building decision.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty cool, pretty
Yeah.
cool sideboard plan from that.
So going forward, are we just gonna? Do we think we're just gonna start seeing Vraska teamer decks everywhere? Like that's just gonna default to be the best version.
Oh yeah, people were playing. Yeah. We didn't even touch on that yet, but
No.
like Vraska was a huge innovation. Again, incredible in the mirrors, incredible in grindy mid range decks, incredible versus tokens. Like Vraska, they were just maining Vraska and splashing it. Yeah, I think that. I mean, mid range mirrors are an arms race, right? So Vraska's just like a bigger bomb in the
Mhm.
mid range arms race.
I think it's also hard to say going forward because I think this is just the next iteration of like a flavor of teamer that helps combat whatever people are doing recently. Like originally it was Bolus and teamer, then everybody stopped. Then it was Scarab God and teamer. Now there's both lists being played. Then now it's going to be Vraska and teamer for a bit, and then someone
Yeah.
else is going to switch. Like
Uh,
it's just
A guy who lost his win in actually, he had Bolus. He lost his win in on coverage for top 8, had Bolus in his list as well. So like you still see just whatever flavor of the week kind
Yeah.
of mirror breakers people want to play. Or
like when you describe the Sultai deck as just or I think it was just a collection of creatures, just a pile of dumb creatures that can win. Like that's what the teamer Sultai deck is going to be for the rest of the season.
agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're going to see anything really change. It'll just kind of week by week, like sideboard cards, like builds will change. But I think right now the way you play standard is just to be comfortable in matchups and know what's going on and try and kind of guess the sideboard plan, have a solid sideboard plan. Like I kind of like the standard format because it seems so much about just like skill based decision with your deck and play skill. Like you just have to play tight, play well, and you'll win. Yeah, healthy standard format.
For sure.
I think it's good.
Hopefully Rivals of Ixalan doesn't mess it up. Speaking of, did you guys see the fake rare sheet that got leaked?
No, but I saw
No.
you guys posting about it in the group chat.
So it's like the most obvious fake that I've ever seen, because like it's a rare sheet, quote unquote, with commons on it and a land. And like all the names are like clearly jokes, and like the cards are busted. They printed
they printed moat basically, right?
Well,
But
yeah,
it's called
Cove,
Like
and it's-
creatures without swimming can't attack you.
Yeah.
Like, it's obviously fake.
But then the great follow up with the swimming mechanic is they printed 1 black swimming death touch lifelink 2/3.
Yeah, that was the only one I saw that you posted about in the chat because I was like, I'm not reading this
Yeah.
stupid fake sheet.
Siege Dino. Everyone's been making Siege Dino puns, although this version was nuts. It cost the same as Siege Rhino. Was also a 4/5 with trample, but instead of an ETB, it was just enrage, drain 3.
That's worse.
Really?
Yes.
But it will probably happen in a damage
Because the
based
control
removal.
deck's like, that's way worse.
Yeah, against control. But no one's
Against
playing
every
control.
deck, it's worse.
No.
Just kill it.
Yeah, with damage, with like a harness lightning.
Okay, then it just did the same thing as Siege Rhino.
Right. But it had the potential to do it more. So it's better.
I mean, lots of cards have the potential to do more camp, but they're not good.
Right, but Siege Rhino only ever drains 3. This could drain, a multiple of 3.
I mean, Ripjaw Raptor could draw 20 cards.
It could.
ETB just always better.
But this one's also a dino. So you got Dino Tribal going on.
There you go. Yeah,
You got
no,
me there.
there's only been 2 spoilers so far from the new set, eh?
And there was like the 15/15 and
Yeah, that Elder Dino and Silver Gill Adept.
Yeah, Silver Gill Adept. That's hype.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, dude, fish rules. How many times do I have to say this on this damn podcast before you understand that Merfolk is
Fish
great?
sucks.
I hate on the fish people.
if they print enough cards that like support a fish deck, that could be something to like shake up this meta, right? Because
No,
like
you
nothing
need-
really changed from last
You need
season.
so many Merfolk
You
to
need-
enable like
yeah.
Silver Gill Adept decks. Man, a 2/1
Sure.
that draws a card. Come on, bro.
You need lords, lots of them.
Yeah.
There's none.
Yeah, maybe they print lots.
No.
How many are gonna print? 3? Then
What,
then
are
I
you gonna
can
print
sign me up.
Island Walk in 2017? That is not. Oh, I guess 2018, but that is not.
No, they're gonna print
happening.
swimming.
They don't have things like Forest and Swamp Walk anymore. They got rid of them.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm pretty sure they did.
I think they announced
can't
they
remember
officially
that.
like a couple years ago got rid of them because like non-interactive and miserable.
Along with protection and
Yeah.
some
They
other
got rid of all
mechanics.
that stuff because they like just want creatures to block and attack, right? Like,
Didn't get rid of hexproof.
yeah, we're flying, shaking my head. but yeah, no, I think they got rid of that. It's like, yeah, no, that's why Fish and Merfolk just got tier. Just unfair creature deck can't beat it.
Fish sucks. End of story. All right, let's wrap this up. Thank you all for joining the club this week. Make sure, as always, you check out wizardtower.com for all your Magic single needs. Free shipping on singles in Canada and the US. Great tournaments, great store, great people. Check them out. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter. Shoot us a follow, shoot us a message.
Talk to us. Let us
Yeah.
know. Ask us what let us know if you have questions or like stuff you want to hear
Yeah,
about
topic
or
ideas.
topic or deck. We're just making crowdsourcing our
Yeah.
work now. But no, even just questions people have, like, what can I do in this situation? Or like, what do I, we love answering those kind of questions. We get a bunch of them all the time. So
Yeah.
let us
Yeah.
know if you want to hear anything.
Or even better yet than like what can I do in this situation is pretty good. But if you are watching coverage and you're like, I don't understand this play, or why did the commentators see that? Because then we can actually link to something that we talk about.
Yeah, true that. So
Thanks all for listening. We'll see you all next week.
cheers.
Later.